watching me on YouTube lately, and everybody's been making the drama videos. So that I'm going to. Let's begin. I'm Earth, and nobody knows for sure when I was born, quote unquote. But my closest friends, the scientists, of course, they know me just so well. It's amazing. Estimate it's about 4.6 billion years ago. They know this because of a handy little trick called radioactive dating to find absolute ages. This involves scientists measuring the amount of a radioactive element in a mineral of rock. The scientists then radioactively dated moon rocks that were a few years younger than me, which is roughly 4.6 billion years ago. I mean, I'm pretty old. Most of your little human minds, in fact, all of your little human minds, can't even calculate how long that is. Unfathomable amount. I'm older than your grandparents, that's for sure. For the first 1.5 billion years, it was so lonely. Life didn't develop until just 3 billion years ago. It was not fun for me. I mean, it was. Can you imagine just looking there, looking at the stars? Sounds nice, right? Now imagine doing it for 1.5 billion years. Yeah, not so fun anymore. It's pretty sad actually, but I didn't realize what I was missing until real life came along, which happens later. And when life did develop, it was these pathetic single-celled organisms that lived in all conditions and ignored all my attempts at friendliness. It was sad. I just asked them, do you want to be a friend? And they just kind of just lie there. This lonely period of my life is called the Precambrian period by humans. It lasted 4.056 billion years. Although life only evolved for the last 2.956 billion years. And when I say life, I mean microscopic single-celled organisms without a brain, bacteria. Algae and fungi evolved just 1 billion years ago. As if it was bad enough, they couldn't speak or move, or anything interactive really. They only lived in the seas, so I could come in contact, washed up to me. It's interesting to watch organisms progress. The next era has 6 periods, breaking down big changes in particular groups. There are 4 eras, each representing a specific time of life in the geologic timescale. The Paleozoic era ranged from 544 to 245 million years ago. The first period is the Cambrian period, which lasted 39 million years and brought the first invertebrate sea animals into my present, such as sponges, clams, worms, like that little limpy piece laying there. 67 million years of my life are classified as the Ordovician period because the earliest fish arrive and many species go extinct. Land plants, similar to present-day mosses, evolve as well as land animals during the 30 million years of the Silurian period. This is actually a funny story. During the Devonian period of 48 million years, amphibians evolved, as well as ferns and cone-bearing plants. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen an amphibian, but, I mean, they are pretty weird. They were slimy and similar to fish, but they had legs, and I was just getting used to life. I mean, it had only been, I don't know, I don't even know how long it had been, but very short time. I mean, this was very early, very long time ago, so you can imagine how scary it was for me. Reptiles appeared along with tons of insects. That's a snake, by the way. I'm not sure if you can tell, but that is a snake. And cone-bearing plants evolved as well as ferns. Now, these were quite nice. They tickled me a little bit, those ferns, but I liked the shade of greens they were. But those insects, they drove me bonkers. You have no idea. They just swarmed me, and they multiply so fast. They like literally are born, they have a baby, and then they die. Actually, they have like 100 babies, but it's ridiculous how fast they progress. And it's not fair, just overpopulating the world. They wouldn't leave me alone, and I have the worst reactions to mosquito bites. Oh, makes me thankful for spiders to kill them off, which is weird because I'm pretty scared of spiders. The final period of the Paleozoic era is the 4 million Permian period, in which seeded plants, insects, and reptiles became pretty common. And there was also a major extinction in which 90% of sea life died. You can imagine how weird it must have been for me to suddenly realize that 90% of the life on Earth was gone. I felt so much lighter, but I felt guilty at the same time. Like, was it something I had done? Nah, nobody knows. And I just had to console the little fishies that were left behind. It was very sad. But the next era, when I look back, before humans, of course, was my favorite area. I mean, that's when it really got fun. A bunch of fierce beings with brains but very little common sense ruled the land. How could that not be awesome? Honestly, how could that not be awesome? These were called dinosaurs. The name appeared during the Triassic period of 37 million years, along with crocodiles, that is what that is, and turtles. That's me having a little party. Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I was sad to see them go. Yeah. And that's my friend Earl the turtle. I remember him. He lived for quite a long time. That's why we got to be such good friends. It was fun. And during that time, palm-like trees and cone-bearing trees dominated the forest. You can see there's palms there, it's coconut. And then here's the cone-bearing tree, which is like a Christmas tree. Wait, I don't know if you know what a Christmas tree is, but kind of like a Christmas tree, except, yeah, a little bit like that, except with cones. Yeah, basically. And birds became a thing. That was fun. During the Jurassic period, large dinosaurs roamed the earth, and birds became a thing. They're flying around between the trees. And mammals became different and more common. First, birds appeared during the 74 million years period. And I was pleased to say that although the dinosaurs were wild party animals, a lot of them were vegetarian. Bunching on those palm and coniferous trees. And then, 88 million years ago was the length of the Cretaceous period in which large plants appeared. There was a mass extinction, which annihilated the dinosaurs and brought an end to the Mesozoic era. It was pretty sad for me, but I guess it had to end. I was getting a bit out of control, gained a lot of weight in that era. Yeah. So much partying. What can I say? Asteroid destroyed them. At least that's what I believe. I'll go into it later. Now, the era we are currently in, and I've been in for the past 66 million years, is the Cenozoic era. That is a monkey, by the way. It's divided into two periods. The Tertiary period, which lasted 64.2 million years, and brought the first monkeys, apes, and grasses into life, and flowering plants were much more commonly seen. Those monkeys were funny to watch. They were very entertaining. And the other one is an ape. Those are much bigger and they're more aggressive, really. Yeah, but they're fun to watch. The Quaternary period has been going on for the past 1.8 million years and continues to now. Humans appeared during this period, and many mammals, flowering plants, and insects dominated the land. That's a saber-toothed tiger, which I'm quite proud of, by the way, and that's a human. Those are humans. That's you guys. Those pretty flowers. But later in the period, many large mammals, such as that woolly mammoth, was wiped out. So, I don't know, it left room for you guys. I guess it was a good thing. Now that I've walked you through the different eras of my life, probably have the same question everybody else did when we learned about me. What makes organisms so varied that they aren't similar enough to all be categorized together? The answer, my friends, is puberty. Well, in a way. Just as you humans grow and change as you get older, I do as well. I would say you experience three major changes: from a baby to a kid to young adult, which is puberty, and adult to an elderly person. So far, I have experienced multiple changes, but I only remember, and my friends as scientists have only accounted for three, although they are sure we'll have more as the millennias add on. The first recorded formation is called Pangea and was occurring 225 million years ago. All the continents were connected to form one giant landmass. 180 to 200 million years ago, North America and Asia split from the rest to form Laurasia, leaving the supercontinent of Gondwanaland. The next formation wasn't major, just a bit of chips taken off continents. They were the scientists, my friend scientists, were even able to identify each individual continent. And this was about 135 million years ago. The third change, I'm sure you're all very familiar with it, as it is the current position of the continents that you live on. People watching this probably mostly live on North America, which is the one on the left upper corner. So this, along with being an important part of my life, drives evolution, these changes that I've had. Animals living on a continent must either adapt to the new conditions once the continent is moved, or become extinct. It's really weeding out the weak. In many cases, this causes speciation to occur, as one animal gets separated throughout one type of animal gets separated throughout multiple continents as they move and become different species. Changing form has clearly my changing form has clearly affected distribution and evolution of organisms. So here we have all these animals living on Pangea. When Pangea, well, that's not really what happened to Pangea, but like, just stick with me. When Pangea splits up, they all move on different parts of the continent, and so one has to adapt to hotter climates, one adapts to colder climates, and they all change. As you can see here, from even though there's a little bit of bad camera work, they all change a little bit as they go to different places. Now, have you ever heard the saying, the more answers you get, the more questions you give? Most likely not, because I just made it up. But you've probably heard something along those lines. Which is why you are left with the question of why the continents move. Well, it all comes down to plate tectonics. Those are plates, by the way, just stacked up. Okay, I just wanted to clear there. That's what those are. My outer layer is made up of a series of pieces called plates. They control how the continents move. The theory of plate tectonics states that my land masses have changed positions over time because they are part of plates that are slowly moving. They move about 5 centimeters every year in all different directions. But of course, I cannot take all the credit for making or breaking a species. I'll never forget the time when the dinosaurs died. You call the Cretaceous period Cretaceous Tertiary extinction. I was becoming such good friends with all of them, but they were, after all, they were the sum of the first life on Earth, with brains, that is. I was sleeping, as one does, and I was awakened by a warm tingling around Mexico. I opened my eyes to find, and guess what I found? Absolutely nothing. It was like just ash and fire. Yeah, but I couldn't find those dinosaurs anywhere. I believe they were destroyed by asteroid, as do most scientists, but we may never know for sure. Of course, I'm guilty of wiping out a few species myself. When I drew my friend Izzy, the scientist, she's pretty awesome. When she drew this, it was just like a major flashback. It was really sad. I kind of cried a little bit. But, yeah, that was Earl the dinosaur. I love him so much. And that was such a good interpretation of Earl. I didn't even have to describe him to her. She just knew that what Earl was and what he looked like. That was just him exactly. Yeah, I feel guilty, of course, for wiping out those species, but, I mean, there was this one time I remember very vividly, because I was feeling so queasy that day. I don't know if I had eaten a bad burrito or something, or... Actually, that's ridiculous. I don't eat burritos, so what am I talking about? Oh, you humans have had quite the influence on me. So as you can tell from that drawing, I was feeling very queasy, and volcanoes erupted all over me, because that's just kind of like my stomach in a way, and tons of species died. I still feel bad about that. You know, some pretty unexpected catastrophes have interrupted regular life. But, you know how it is. You just gotta go with the flow. That's how it is. That's just how I live my life. I mean, that's just how I live my life. Now, you know about my history, but what's really important is rocks. Because rocks make up a lot of what I am. And so, there are multiple types of rocks, well, sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic. Sedimentary rocks are really cool because they pile up, and it's helped my friends as scientists a lot. These sedimentary rocks because the oldest ones are on the bottom. It's like these different colors, like I'm writing actually. Each layer is a different age. And so they know that the things found on the bottom layer are the oldest, and they come from that period of time that the rock was, because that's when they died. And then every few million years, 100 million years, another layer is added to stack up on the pile. For example, you could find those little microscopic things, and those almost fish, and the turtles started coming. And you could find, well, I wouldn't really say a woolly mammoth in a rock, but you could find fragments of a woolly mammoth for sure. And then those are humans on the top. Yeah, that's our dad. I guess we could have buried stuff on top of really important fossils. We just haven't checked. Another thing that's really important is determining relative age. And so they use the sedimentary rock to determine relative age. But there's one thing that can throw them off, which is called unconformity. That first one was the sedimentary rocks forming in horizontal layers. And as it goes on, they kind of, the folding tilts happen in the rock layers. And so it's kind of like a rainbow, which, I mean, are pretty awesome, have to admit. And the surface of the rock is eroded away, and so it forms like a part of a rainbow with the top cut off.
What?
No. And then new sedimentary rock begins forming on top of that. And so new sediment is deposited, forming rock layers above the unconformity. Notice the inconclusions in the new rock, and this throws the scientists off because their whole part of their basis for evolution is on the relative age of these fossils. Because as they look through the different ages of the rocks, they see the different changes in the animals and the fossils of the animals. And so geology is such a big part of evolution. And just like these fossils are, they can find the skeletons for those early celled animals, and then those sponge fish, and the red jawless fish, and the jawed fish, and then when the mammal things came along, the forest would start developing, and bugs came into being, dinosaurs happened, flowers came, mammoths came, and then you humans came. So that was pretty great for you guys. And you can see through the evidence of these fossils obviously how life has changed. This is life and they're changing. But also how the environmental conditions have changed, because dinosaurs couldn't have survived back when when the single-celled organism survived, because trust me, I was there because I'm Earth. It was just darkness like this and black. It was horrible. Well, that's me. I mean, what more can I say? That is the story of my life. Oh gosh, I love that song. And even though I have obviously lived through many generations of beings, just in general, you guys are my favorite. Especially because you guys can make music like that. Yeah, that's been nice. And I have been observing your show's business stuff. And you too, of course, been in a lot of that. That's booming. And one thing that I've noticed you do at the end of movies, especially the ends of ones that involve rabbits, is you have to add in, that's all, folks.
Apostrophe S, that's THAT.
Yeah. Well, hope you enjoyed it, because you're living me right now.